Well, hello and welcome to Writing Wednesday. It looks like we've already got some writers on. Welcome, Lisa. Welcome, Yvonne. Happy to have you here with us live today. Today, we are talking about the 5 things I wish I knew before I published my first book, released my first book, launched my first book, however you want to word it. It's just things I wish I would have known. And so some of you have already launched, and some of you are right there on the cusp. Hey, Deb, welcome. Um, but this is 5 things that will help you whether you're launching a first one, launching a second one, a third one, and so forth. And so I just want to dive right in today. It's kind of a lot of content, but not really. So I want to make sure we fit it all in our 30-minute time spot. So if you're just now joining us for the first time, be sure to like and subscribe and all those things so that you can get notified. And of course, you can go back and watch previous Writing Wednesday episodes as well. Okay, so first of all, the one thing I really wish I would have known from the beginning is that your book and your book launch, it's not about you. It's not about you. You will be more successful and sell more books if you focus on the real reason you're there. And that real reason is your why to begin with, right? It's the ultimate why. It's your reader. It's the person that you're trying to help with the message that you've written. So if you'll focus on that reader prior to your launch, and during your launch party, during your launch week, during your whatever you're doing for your launch, whether you're doing an online launch, an in-person launch, whether you're just gonna kind of slip it out there and release it, not really do anything big, whatever you're doing, you need to be focusing on your reader. What's in it for them? Why should they buy your book? How is this book going to help them? It's the whole reason why you wrote it, right? And so we get sometimes so caught up in us, and let's be honest, some of our friends and family make it all about us. Let me get a little sip here. A lot of the questions that you'll get is, how long have you been writing your book, or how, and it starts making it about us, right? When did you first decide to write a book? It starts making it about us. But as I've shared in a previous Writing Wednesday episode, you can turn any question that you get, flip it, and make it about your reader, right? So when did you first discover or want to write your book? Well, if you were asking me, that honest answer would be back in 2003, I felt called to write. At the time, I didn't know what my first book would be. I thought it was going to be something else. But God knew that I needed to discover my worth, and that there was so many people out there struggling with their worth, that's the book that came out first. Save the Buttertubs, Discover Your Worth in a Disposable World. Now, do you see how I did that? I was honest with my answer. My first call was in 2003 to write, but then I made it about the other people. Okay. So you want to be able to make sure that your perspective is focused on your readers at all times. If you can do this, you will be successful. You will have more people. And it's not just hey, my book's available. Hey, they don't care. What's in it for them, right? I've said it a million times. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse with it, but I need it too. We all need it. You see it across socials. You'll see people promoting their books that way, and we have all been guilty of it, me included. And so it's worth reminding you to keep it about your reader. Always make it about them. Really, no matter what you're marketing. If you're marketing your book, you're marketing a speaking engagement, you're marketing a course, an event, whatever it is, it needs to be focused on them. Okay. Next step, we talk a lot about a wait list in my community, and I teach my authors how to start building a wait list, how to create opt-ins, and all of these fun things. And some of them have been very successful at creating them. So congratulations on that. I know some of the authors that are on here today. Yvonne has one. Laura's here. She just created hers. Her website's up and going. Congratulations, Laura. Let's see. Deb says, yes, that's so good. It is about who we are trying to reach and serve. Exactly. Who are we trying to reach and serve? It's not about us. Okay. So I talk about opt-ins and building a wait list and all of this. Well, why does this matter? Why does having a list matter? It's not just to have a list. It's not just so you can say, "Oh, I have 500 people on my email list." Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. Um, the number of people on your wait list is not a direct correlation to the success of your book. But here's what it is. It's beginning to build a relationship with your readers. If you can start getting in a routine somehow, some way of emailing them on a regular basis, and whether that is for you monthly, weekly, biweekly, quarterly, however whatever the routine is, you should set up a routine, tell them the routine, how often they can expect something from you, and then be consistent with it. It's not that hard if you think about the content that you already have. Okay. This is where people get really caught up in, well, what am I going to say if I do a monthly letter? Or what am I going to say if I do a weekly letter? Or whatever. Well, here's the thing. And here's where a lot of authors get choked up is they're so afraid to share content from their books because they're like, well, if I share content from my book, then I'm just giving my content away for free and no one's going to want to buy it. Well, here's the thing. When they buy your book, they're buying all of your content concisely placed in one place, right? It's convenient for them to take your content in one place in a book, whether that's in a ebook or a paperback, hardback, whatever. It's convenient for them. But people like to learn and listen in different ways. I'll give you an example. I am currently reading a book called The Familiar Stranger, which I highly, highly recommend. It's by Tyler Staton. And I am binging his podcasts, binging his YouTube videos, reading the book. I didn't get the audio, which sometimes I do, but I just didn't care for the way it came across, like the way it was read, which is funny because I think it's him that reads it. I couldn't be exact now because I'd have to go back and look, but I like his videos. I like watching him. I like watching him preach. He's a pastor. I like watching him preach. I love listening to him on podcasts. And so I'm just binging the information, right? And a lot of the information is the same information I'm getting from the book. It's just presented in a new format, or it's expanded upon, or in the book it's expanded upon, vice versa. So what is it doing for me? It's saturating me with the message. And that's what I want. I want this message from this book to just sink in so deep and change me, right? I want to be transformed by it. Well, hopefully your reader wants to be transformed by your message too. And so they want to gather as much as they can from you, from the book, from your emails, from your, if you're going live on your socials, whatever that is for you, right? So think about your wait list as more than just a list. It's not a wait list that, okay, I'm going to email them that finally on the day my book comes out. But no, you're building a relationship with them. You're sending them emails on a regular basis. Again, whatever that frequency looks like for you, just make it doable. And then you're going to start giving them a little bit of information here and there. And in my coaching community, we've coached through this before, and I obviously coach you through it again if you need some ideas on what to include in your newsletter, how to do that, what does that look like, how to batch it so that you can do a sprint, create a bunch of them and just be done with it for the year or the month, or how, if you're doing 12, if you're doing once a month, 12 of them, you should be able to do that in a 2 hours time period pretty easily. So set a time aside for it. We're having another marketing sprint within my community coming up, and you could literally do that for your marketing sprint, which is probably what I'm going to do. And so I'll probably coach through that on this next one. So let me look at the calendar while I'm thinking about it and tell you when that date is, because I want to make sure that you guys have it. If you want to be part of it, obviously join my community. But the next writing sprint is next Wednesday, and the next marketing sprint is June the 6th. So June the 6th, marketing sprint, and we're going to go over, in fact, I'm going to make a note in here so I don't forget. We are going to go over email frequency and content. So if that's really where you are wondering, what are you doing? How are you doing this? Be sure to join my community if you're not part of it yet, so you can be part of both of those events coming up. And be there live for the event. It's live. We do it on Zoom, so I can answer questions in real time right then and there, and so you don't want to miss that if that's something that you're needing. Okay. Hey, Shelly. Shelly says she's here. Jan made it. Yay, Jan. I got your email this morning. I hope you got mine back. Just go ahead and send that manuscript over and we'll get started on that. Laura, I should have one for you to review tomorrow, if not by the end of today. So you guys are knocking it out. I love it. I love that you're here too live. Congratulations. And Shelly, you're rocking it with your book tour. So congratulations on that. If you guys aren't following Shelly over at Shelly Creates It, follow her. She is doing book tours. Now she has mainly children's books, and so it's a little different than some of you, but you can see her in action, how she's promoting her books, the different places that she's going, the different types of places that she's going. If anything, you'll be inspired. It's very inspiring to watch. So congratulations on all of your success there, Shelly. Okay, so you want to nurture that list first. And then, of course, you want to invite. So whether you're inviting them to a book launch, you're inviting them to, finally grab a copy of the book, you're inviting them to an event, whatever that is, nurture first, giving them information. You don't want to jump right to the buy my book part. You don't want to jump to that. You want to build a relationship. Think of it this way, and I'm going to get a little, up in here. Y'all ready for this? It's kind of like if you're on a first date with someone and okay, we'll go PG, and they try to kiss you right away. And you're like, I don't even know you, right? Now it's been a while since I've had a first date. I've been married for over 20 years, so it's been a while. But it's one of those like, I don't even know you. What? That's the same way it is when we are meeting someone for the first time. Imagine this is what we do on socials all the time. Imagine if you did this in person. You walk up to someone in the supermarket and you're like, hi, buy my book. It's out. It's released. And they're like, and who are you? Right? They don't even know us. And we're like, buy my book. So think about that right there. It gave you some ideas for content. First, let them get to know you. Tell them a little bit about you. Do a little intro post on your socials. Do a little intro email. Are you taking notes here? I'm giving you content. Do an intro email. Do 3 things you might not know about me, 5 things you always wanted to know about me, whatever it is, right? Do a little intro email and let them get to know you a little bit better. You don't want to just go in and be like, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. Nobody wants that, right? It's part of the reason why I go live every Wednesday and now every Monday over on my other YouTube channel for You Matter Mondays. I know that the more I can get to know you guys and help you and serve you, first of all, the more I'm helping and serving you, right? But then I hope that you'll come to my beach retreats. I have comfort retreats. The content is this close to being up, you guys. I was working on it right before I came up here, and the file is too big for me to put. So like if you go to my website right now and you click on it, it's going to take you to a different link that says it's $69, and it is not $69. But I couldn't get the file to upload. So I will work on that as soon as I get off of here so that you'll have an active link. And of course, I'll put it out. But there's 2 retreats in comfort in July. I'm really hoping that you know me now and you want to come spend time with me. I've been going live for Writing Wednesday for now well over a year, every Wednesday for free, right? Giving valuable content to help you guys out. And so it's a way of me showing my expertise. Hopefully you feel like, okay, she actually knows what she's talking about every week. And it would be worth going and meeting her in person and listening to her in person. So, yes, right. You Matter Mondays. It just started, Deb, this week. Just started this week. So you've only missed one. Go over to Brenda A. Hare over on YouTube and check it out. Brenda A. Hare on my YouTube channel. And you'll see me in a little yellow dress with shorter hair. And it's the first one is there for You Matter Mondays, but you'll love it. It's a fresh revelation for me in the last several months, and I shared it over there. So anyway, it's again getting to know each other, right? Deb is here live today. She's a box subscriber. She's part of the Writers Retreat box. She's been a subscriber for a while now, and the more she's getting to know me, she's like, "Wait, I want more," right? Because she likes what I'm saying over here. Now she's like, "Wait, I didn't know you're doing this over here." That's what you want for your readers. You want them to be like, "Wait, you're gonna be somewhere, I wanna come with you," right? And it's not that we're making ourselves into something. We are being authentically who God created us to be. We are showing up to serve the way He asked us to serve, and all we're doing is showing people that side of us, right? We're saying, "Here we are to do what God called us to do, and if you're following me, you're gonna be following Him. So come on over and let's check this out together," right? And that's all we're doing. And so what I am doing, I am leading by example. So come follow me. If you're comfortable going live, go live. If you're not comfortable going live, figure out what it is you're comfortable with. Are you comfortable with making a post? Are you comfortable with putting pictures up? Are you comfortable sharing some insider info about you? Readers love that insider stuff about us. Which we don't, we think, why would they want to know that? But they do. They want to know more about us. So if you can share some little things like that, you will start engaging your readers, and start engaging your audience. Okay, enough about that one because that's only number 2. We got 5. Okay, so that was building your wait list, and it ties right directly into the next point, which is retention. Okay, and retention looks different for authors than it does for other businesses. For example, in my coaching business, retention looks like, or even in my subscription box business, it looks like retention is keeping you guys around, right? That you like my content, you like what I'm teaching you, I'm always bringing you fresh new perspectives, all of those things. But as an author, when you're like, well, what does that look like? How am I retaining my readers? Well, you're going to use the point we just talked about with that email list, and you're going to build that list and you're going to keep talking to them. Why would you do that? Well, one is you want them to, let's just say you have one book, because this is where people get caught up. Now, if you have multiple books out, which many of you do, I think Shelly out of this group probably has the most out. Yvonne's got one with one on the way. Kim's got 2 out with one on the way. Laura's got 5 coming. So there's everybody's got multiple books coming. But let's just say you had the one. Okay. What does retention look like when you have one book and you have an email list? Well, first of all, did everybody on that list buy your book? You don't know or not, right? So you want to keep giving them the content like we talked about in the previous point. Keep giving them the content. You want to follow up. Have they left a review for you? You want to follow up with the holidays. Graduation season is amongst us. You want to make sure that they know your book is available and would be a perfect graduation gift for someone. Yvonne, have you thought about that? Your book would make a perfect graduation gift for a young graduate to take their spiritual oasis to their college dorm room, to their new house if they're moving out. Think about what's happening in the world around us, and how do we position our book to help our readers. Again, it's all about the readers, right? So retention looks like helping them all along the way, helping them digest the content more. Maybe you're expanding on a point you made in your book. Maybe you're telling a different story about it. Maybe you're sending it in a different way. You could possibly take some content from your book and make a video where you're talking about the point you made in the book. And it's just going to be more personal. It's just, again, like I shared earlier with the Tyler Stanton thing, it's just coming at you in a different way, coming at your reader in a different way. And they're going to be able to digest it. Maybe you're sending out, hey, if you love my book, have you thought about it for a book club? Have you thought about it for, I'm a speaker. I would love to come speak at your church. I would love to come speak at your women's group, your Bible study, your whatever, right? So retaining your readers, even if you only have one book, you're constantly just helping them figure out ways to use the content from your book and to get further with them with the same content. Does that make sense? Give me let's think of a funny word to use. Let's just type in the word book club, if that makes sense to you. Type in the word book club, because here's the thing with this Tyler Staton book. I'm in a book club. So I bought the book. I'm in a book club that someone else is leading. It's fantastic. I'm on fire about the book because I'm in the book club. I'm consuming all the stuff. We're talking about it. It's really driving the point home for me. And guess what? I'm going to tell other people to come back and join this book club next time she does it because it's amazing. So think about that. You could start a book club. I did this in the beginning with my book. With Save the Better Tubs, I had a book club. I did it with the Victory Channel. We had a I don't know if you want to call it a book club, but we went through Worthy. We did a Bible study. So I've done this type of thing before, and it really does serve your audience well. So, Yvonne, I could think of a really fun book club. I mean, you could create a little spiritual oasis, even if it's just one little room, and invite people to come into that book club. And they're experiencing what it is you're talking about in real time, right? So, how powerful would that be? Um, you just have to be comfortable with talking about it and thinking about. I mean, it all comes down to the first point, which is your reader. They need this book. They need the content. They need it to resonate, right? Fully. Otherwise, you wouldn't be passionate about it. You wouldn't be writing it, right? You know that they need it because you needed it at one point. God gave it to you, right? And so you've got to give them all the ways that they can use and consume your content. If you haven't thought about a book club, if you don't want to host it, maybe you find somebody else to host it. Maybe you just mention it to your readers that, hey, have you ever thought about hosting a book club? Go over to chat, say, chat, give me 5 ideas for hosting a book club. And then you slip that into an email and tell them, hey, here's 5 ideas for hosting a book club. Have you ever thought about it? My book's available. It would make a perfect book club read, blah, blah, blah. You could share ideas. You could be creative. You could whatever, right? You get the point. So you've got to think about retaining your readers for the long haul of your book. Whether, let's just say they come to your book launch and they buy your book, and then you're like, okay, they bought it. Now what? Well, now you want them to tell everybody. So you've got to keep them engaged in the content. You've got to make sure that they read the book. You've got to make sure that they tell other people about the book. You know, maybe you send an email and say, hey, if you love the book, send me a picture of you with the book. If you created a spiritual oasis, send me a picture of your book and your spiritual oasis. Like, go ahead and ask that of your readers. Ask them in an email, ask them on Facebook, you know, ask them all of the ways that you communicate with your people. But the more you can stay engaged with them around the content, even if you only have one book and they bought that book, now it's about driving the content home for them and how getting them to talk about it and tell other people about it. Got it? Okay. What point was that? Number 3? Are we on number 4? Let's see. Number 4. Okay. Here's the one not a lot of people want to talk about. And as a coach, often people are like, well, you shouldn't talk about that. You're going to scare people off. They're not going to want to punish their books. I bet you can already start thinking about what it is. It's the cost. Okay. Your first book launch will cost you more than you think it will. Most authors don't take into account what a book costs. You're talking about cover design costs. You're talking about interior design costs, editing costs, the cost of your ISBNs and uploading that depending on which route you're going. There's options for all of these things and different prices for all of these things across the board. That's just the hard cost. Editing is a very important cost that a lot of people want to skip. I do not recommend skipping it. I was just talking to a lady in a store the other day. We were talking about books. I don't even know how we got on the subject. Oh, we were at a thrift store and she was buying these huge children's books. And I was like, I've never even seen these. I would have totally snagged them up. They were really cool. I totally would have used them in my writer's retreat box for wrapping the gifts because they were like huge pages. But we got to talking about books, and she said that her kids have always told her she should write a book. And I was like, well, that's kind of what I do. And the more we got to talking about it, she was like, you know, I'm just really turned off by some of these books that are out there that are horribly edited and have really bad covers. And I'm like, yeah, it's hurting the self-publishing industry, isn't it? That's why we have to bank on it. We have to make sure that we have that money. That's why in the writer's retreat box a couple of months ago, they literally got a piggy bank. I don't have mine handy. They literally got a piggy bank. I want them to start stashing money in there away for their editing costs alone, right? That's the biggest expense and the most important expense in my opinion. If you cannot afford to get your book edited properly, probably want to take a pass on publishing it because you're gonna get bad reviews. People will put it down. That whole retention factor goes out the window. I've done it. I've done it to people I know. Last summer, was it last summer or the summer before? I went to the beach retreat. I can't remember if it was last summer or the summer before, but I was at the beach retreat and I was so looking forward to reading this fiction book. It was on a topic I was excited about, and I was really looking forward to it. And I knew the author, I know her, and I knew, through circles. And so I was like, okay, this is gonna be good. First paragraph in, I was like, oh no, we can't do this. I can't read this book. She didn't get it edited. Like, this is horrible. And it was so disappointing because I really wanted to read the book. And not only that, I know her. And so I really, Joey wants to say hi. I really wanted to support her in this. The book was a great, concept for a fiction book, but I couldn't. I couldn't. What can I do? I'm not going to promote a book that's not properly edited and not properly, I don't want to read it. I didn't read it. I did not read it. It's probably going to get torn up and used in some kind of project, journaling project or something, because it's not worth reading. And that's the last thing you want somebody to say about your book. That would break my heart on so many levels if someone said that. Now, I'm not going to say that there's not an error here or there, right? In Save the Buttertubs, I remember the first time when I was reading it for the audio and I found an error and I was like, oh, wow, this has gone through a lot of editing and for us all to miss it. And it was one of those you and me or you and I statements, and it got missed. But when I read it out loud, that's why I encourage you to read out loud when you're doing your editing. It's so, so important. So those are some of the costs. Now, here's some costs we don't think about. Let me see. I'm going to read some comments. Jan says, editing was such an awesome process. Yay. I do feel that it added such great value to my content. Perfect. I love it. And Jan did her due diligence. She did her self edits. She did beta readers, and then she went to a professional editor. So she's done it all. It's so, so important. Yes. Deb says it's crucial. Lisa says she doesn't want to skip it. Oh, yay. She said she did a lot of reading out loud yesterday. Reading out loud it really makes a difference, because if it's not rolling off your tongue, guess what? It's not going to roll off theirs either, and they're not going to want to read it. But let's talk about some costs that you don't think about, okay? If you're actually planning a book launch or a book tour, you have to think about some of the things such as ordering author copies. Not just the cost of ordering them, which you can get them pretty inexpensively, but you have to think about the shipping costs. Books are heavy. The more you order, the heavier the shipping, right? And so you have to think about that. You have to think about travel if you're going to go on a book tour, the gas, the hotels, the eating out, all of those things, right? It can start to add up. And then if you're going to do any kind of swag, stickers, bookmarks, whatever it is for you, which this is where in my coaching program, I encourage you to partner with people. And we'll coach you through on your specific book tour. But I was hoping I had, I do. Look at this little bookmark. This little bookmark was a giveaway in a kid's meal. I don't know if you can tell what it is. It's a little doggy. Can you tell him what it is? Let me find a book to stick him in so you can see how cute he looks. See, it's a little doggy and he pops over the top. Isn't he cute? So cute. Well, guess what? This was from Raising Cane's. It was in their kids meal. And I just happened to order a kids meal and got one of these. And I was like, oh, what? So I have an author who is writing a book about, I was going to say compassion animals, but I can't think of the word now. Pets that help you. Not therapets, but kind of like therapets. What's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, I sent her a message and I'm like, you need to go to Raising Cane's and you need to ask them to sponsor your book launch. And you need to get a case of these before they're gone. that important, right? And guess what? I talked to my guy at my place and he was like, "Oh yeah, they would do that. Just tell her to contact her local store." And they would do that. And he didn't have any service animals. Yeah, that's not the word either. Um, Emotional support animals. That's what I'm looking for. Emotional support animals. So this little bookmark, it could have been a free bookmark that you gave away at your event because you partnered with a business that wants to get their name out there. And if you ask for 50 of these or 100 of these, they're gonna be like, that's nothing. Here's a case. Take it, right? So who can you partner with for your book launch? How can you get some things that, because this, if you were to go buy a bunch of these, that's going to cost money, right? And you're going to have to pay um, that expense. And as a new author, you don't want to add more expense, right? You want to put your money on the most important things, which is getting a professional cover, professional interior, professional editing. The fun things like these, you want to keep your cost down as low as you can. So if you can partner with somebody, that's even better. But you do have to take into consideration. For my first book launch, I actually tried to partner with a butter company. I know it sounds crazy, to get butter tubs, and I couldn't get anybody to do it. And I was like, why can't you just send me some butter tubs? Like even with your label on it, I don't care. And I couldn't get them to do it. Um, but one of the things I wanted at my launch parties, and I shared this before, I had a book tour. We're going over time just a little bit. We're almost done. Um, but I wanted a cake with the picture of my book on it. I wanted that. To me, that was like, you've made it. Your book cover is on a cake, right? So you have to take into account cakes cost money. And I had two of them because I had two separate parties where I had cakes during this tour. And so it costs money. Plates, napkins, forks, decorations, tablecloths, all the things, right? So start setting money aside for those types of things if that's the kind of party that you want. Um, yes, Laura, yes, we've discussed this, Laura, and your proofreading is going to be more important than the copy editing. Here's something that's interesting that happened with a poet recently that I was working with, Laura. Um, she did go through, she went ahead with line editing, then she went with proofreading, and when we went to final upload, she ordered books, and then she messaged me and said, "Oh my gosh, this poem is wrong." And I was like, "What do you mean wrong?" And she said, "It's duplicated." I'm like, I started to panic because I was like, "We put the poem in twice?" And it wasn't that at all. It was one line in the poem was duplicated. Well, in poetry, it's kind of like a song, right? Sometimes you sing the same line again and again. And so no one caught it because they thought it was her artistic poetry style. And so I told her, I said, obviously we will correct it. Send me, so we corrected it. And we had to re-upload the files and all the things. But I said, here's the thing, it's poetry. No one is going to know except for you, because people are going to think that you were trying to emphasize that point and right, so nobody's going to know except for you. Now proofreading though is important because proofreading is more for a comma, a period, is something dangling off the page that shouldn't be, all of those things. So proofreading is definitely more important in poetry because it is so open to interpretation. So great question, and you're on the right track with yours, Laura. So you're doing great, and you will have that file to go to proofreading with in the next couple of days. So very exciting. Okay, save your money for the things that really matter, but if you do want those other things, take them into consideration. But look for sponsors at every turn. Look for people who will, maybe somebody will provide a cake if they're the sponsor. I'm thinking of Shelly. I know somebody who could make some darn good cupcakes in Shelly's life. She has a sister that makes the most a beautiful, I think it's your sister, the most beautiful cupcakes I've ever seen. But think about those types of things, right? Who can you partner with to sponsor out the things that you don't want to pay for, right? So think about that and utilize that. But keep in mind that those unexpected things add up. The same with a venue. Look for free venues if you're planning a party. Look for venues that will do it as a sponsor. Maybe it's your church, maybe it's a local community center, a bookstore, a library. But make sure that you're not having to fork out just hundreds of dollars for a venue. You don't want to have to do that. Now, I will tell you that I did do that for my first book launch because it was so important for me to have it at Wong's grocery store in San Antonio because it ties into my book. And that place was still in existence. It's a historical site. And so I was like, I've got to have it here. And it was so special and so cool. It just made everything that much more special for me, but I was willing to pay for that. So you have to decide what you're willing to pay for and not pay for and take it into consideration. Okay. Last thing, and we're going to wrap up, and it kind of ties it all in together, right? But I want you to remember that you're in this for the long haul, and especially important for authors who, like me, have multiple books out because we seem to focus on the last book or the next book and not so much on the first book, right? But we're in here for the long haul. That first book, we want that first book to sell for our lifetime, right? And beyond. We don't want it to sell for the first 6 months it's out and then it's gone. I'm still selling all 10 of my books, right? We want to make sure that we're selling all the books all the time. That we're talking about all the books all the time. And it's not just launching a book is not just the finish line. You're finally here. Now it feels like the finish line, right? You're like, oh, I can't wait to cross that finish line. I'm sure some of you are saying that right now. Like, type in finish line if you're ready to cross the finish line. But here's the bad part. It's not the finish line. It's just the beginning. Because now you've got to slow it down a little bit and just grow your audience, continuing to plug in. Where can you focus on helping them more? How can you continue to get this in front of them and make your book last for years in the marketplace? If you think about the books that have done this over time, Chicken Soup for the Soul and things like that, that's probably not the best example because that's a derivative book and they've made so many of them. Like of course, the first book's still going to be front of mind because there's so many of them. But how can you create this long haul? It really ties into what we talked about earlier with retention, keeping your audience there, keeping them talking about it. Like it's never going to go away unless you want it to, right? And I've seen that with authors. I've seen authors write beautiful books and then they move on to something else and they never talk about it before. In fact, the lady that I write about in my book, that first that I bumped into off the elevator and she was writing a book. She now owns a massage studio franchise. Like she's not an author anymore as far as like, obviously she's still the author of that first book, but she's not actively promoting it. Now, I don't know if hopefully she's smart enough to have it in her gift shop area, at the massage place, how they sell whatever little gadgets and stuff. Hopefully she has it there. It fits to that. It's a self-discovery type of book. And so it kind of fits with that mindset. And hopefully she hasn't just totally discarded it, but it fits there. But I've seen authors totally discard and just be like, yeah, that was a thing I did once. Right. And if that's your mindset right now, if it's like, oh, this is just a one and done, you probably want to jump ship because editing, book cover, interior, all these things, they cost money, they cost time, it's an investment. And if you're not going to see it through for the long haul, why? It'd be like saying, well, I'm going to get a driver's license, but I'm not going to buy a car. Why would you need a driver's license then? Like, you're just going to randomly drive somebody else's car? Hopefully, probably not, right? So if you're going to take the time to get the license, like, let's drive the car, right? And so this is for you to drive the car, like figure it out, what it is. And that I want you to lean in. What does God want you to do with this book and this message? Like once you're there at the finish line, and I'm going to tell you this because one of my authors said, I wish I would have known this. And this should be on my list. You might feel a little let down actually at your finish line. You might feel a little bit like, oh, yeah, this isn't exactly like I pictured it. I did. Even though I was in the middle of a book tour and I remember feeling kind of depressed about it. And it's this, all the adrenaline and then all of a sudden it's over. Like all this buildup, you've been working for years to get to this point, and then now it's done, right? So if that's you're working towards this, you've been working towards this for a long time. How do we keep that going in the right direction and not just tank? We've got to lean in and say, okay, God, what do you want next for this book? What do you want next for this message? Is it a companion piece that I need to write? Hence, Save the Buttertubs. Here comes the companion Bible study. Here comes the companion journal, right? Is it a companion piece that you're going to write? Is it a speaking engagement that you need to have? Is it a book club you need to host? Lean in, ask God, what is it? What is it for me? What's my next step? How do I keep this book? I'm in it for the long haul. What is it? Ask him, see what he says. Yvonne says, the journey is the thing. That's exactly it. The journey is the thing. All right. Any other questions before we wrap up? We're over by 10 minutes, so I want to honor your time. Thank you guys for being here live. Be sure to like, subscribe, all the things to the video over on YouTube, and let me know in the comments there if you're loving it or not. This is a funny little button. Oh no, it won't let me do it right now. I don't want to mess it up. Something else popped up. Let me see what it says. That's all I have for today. So if you're part of my community, we will see you on Friday let me put this on make sure I have the right calendar up. Friday, 12 o'clock for Tech Talk. And then we will see you back next Wednesday for Writing Wednesday. Again, if you're new and you want to follow up with my You Matter Mondays, that is at 11 o'clock on Mondays on my Brenda A. Hare YouTube channel. So I look forward to chatting with you over there. If that's something that you're interested in, it's just a little reminder every Monday that you matter and whatever revelation God gives me to share with you guys. So until then, you guys have a great rest of the week. Get to writing. Hopefully you are yes, Shelly, now everybody's going to want to know the name of the bougie cupcake place, so go ahead and drop the link to that when we're off of here. You can put it in the YouTube comments when we're done. Yeah, they're going to want to see those cupcakes because they're amazing. They're so beautiful, you almost don't even want to eat them. Thanks again for being here. I so love you guys being here live with me and appreciate all the replays. If you're watching the replay, let me know in the comments that you're watching the replay and your biggest takeaway from all of this. Until next time, take care, everyone.